Hey guys, it's Jay, and welcome to the blog this week. I just wanted to answer a couple of questions that I've been getting from a couple of you, and then I put it up on Facebook this week too, that this week on the blog, that this is what I would do. I would just answer your questions, no matter how relevant they seem to where I am in my journey now, whether they're about you starting yours, whether they're about the surgery or just weight loss or working out or whatever. I just wanted the chance to help you in any way that I can by kind of sharing my perspective on it, because one thing I'm sure of is that my perspective has changed from the outset of this to now. It's incredible for me to realize just how much my own outlook of this has changed. What I expected when I came into it versus what I live now are two very different things. Surgery-wise, everything is exactly as I had expected. I talked to a lot of people beforehand. I worked closely with the folks at the clinic and medical personnel, so no surprises really in connection to the surgery, but I have to say lots of surprises that have to do with getting active and how much I enjoy that and how much it's just become a part of who I am. And that's where our first question starts, actually. It's from someone who works shift work, and they're wondering, how do you make working out part of your routine if you don't have a normal routine, if you're not 9 to 5, if you can't realistically work out for the same hour-long block every day? A couple of myths there. First of all, it's not important that you work out in one time block. If what you can swing is 20 minutes in the morning and then a 40-minute walk at night, if what you can swing is only half an hour a day, that's better than what most of us were doing before we started doing something. So don't get caught up in trying to meet someone else's expectation. Just get moving. Find those moments in your day, find those days in your week, find those weeks in your month, and before you know it, you have just made it a priority. You've made it a part of who you are, and that catches on. And then what's really interesting is that once you start it stops being difficult to schedule, because it's not about squeezing it in. It's about taking the time to do it. I can't imagine my life now without this time for myself every day, where I just get outside or get on the treadmill or do something that is incredibly selfish, that is just all about me, where I invest this energy and this time in me. I know that I'm going to be a better family member tonight. I know I'm going to be a better friend tomorrow. I know I'm going to be better prepared for work tomorrow because I spend this time investing in myself today. And then, of course, that's to say nothing of the long-term benefits of, health-wise and what this does for you mentally. That sense of just being in control. Being in control means making those decisions work for you. And day by day, that means you're not going to be able to say, okay, I'm a guy who does this every day at lunch. Maybe that's not you. But what you can do is promise yourself and commit to yourself that no matter how hectic the day, no matter how out of control it gets, no matter how much the kids cry, or no matter how late your boyfriend or girlfriend has to work or whatever, no matter all of that, you're going to find the time to invest in yourself today. And that if there are days where you don't, if that's not possible every day, there has to be some kind of give and take with yourself. So for me, I know exactly what that is. I know that if there's one day where even I'm just supposed to go out by my schedule and do a 3K walk, or I'm supposed to jog for, a K and a half and walk, wherever I am in my program, if there's a day that I just blow, I don't make the time, right? If there's a day I do that, my punishment / reward to myself is the next day I demand 5K out of myself. That's a moving thing. It's going to change with me and grow with me, but there has to be a consequence for me not investing in myself. Because when that consequence wasn't immediate, right? When it just accumulated over time in pounds on me, in a disassociation between who I am and physically what I was, that consequence was much worse. So I've had to give myself a consequence for everything. It's not about punishment. It's about accountability. It's just about recognizing that in that moment, when you choose to break your plan, when you choose to not do what it is you need to do for yourself, there has to be something that moves you off course as a result of that. You didn't do your part that day, there has to be some kind of punishment for that. For me, that consequence is just stepping it up the next day. Kills two birds with one stone, right? You're still investing in your health, but at the same time, you're giving yourself something to know that it really is worth finding the time today. And that none of us are that busy. We all have 24 hours. I don't care if you're the President of the United States, or if you're completely rich and get to stay home all day. I don't care how demanding your life is. We are all given 24 hours a day, and I refuse to believe that each of us can't find 30 minutes minimum to invest in ourselves, to get moving, to get active, to feel better, and to get healthy. I don't believe that. You know, I'm an incredibly busy guy. I schedule myself like crazy. I have a job that presents me with lots of opportunities, and out of a complete sense of greed for wanting to milk the most out of these opportunities, I say no to very little. And, you know, I'm working on that in ways where my saying no doesn't benefit me, where it doesn't build me or move me toward my goals. But a lot of the opportunity I have absolutely is to my benefit to say yes to. And part of the reason that I wanted to do this and get control of my health was so that I could say yes to more. So stop looking at your schedule as something that's holding you back and start finding the opportunities in your schedule to do this for you, to find those moments for you where you can get out in front of this, where you can make this happen for yourself. The next question we had is for a woman who just wants to know how she can get her family to do this with her. She's been following along, but she feels like she's been doing it on her own. You know, I think that's very interesting, and, you know, that's going to happen. Everyone's on a different schedule. If someone in my house had wanted to do this 3 months ago and I wasn't ready, I wouldn't have done it. You know, 3 months before I started, I mean, not 3 months ago. I was in the middle of it 3 months ago. But everyone's going to do this on their own schedule. You can't drag them kicking and screaming into health. You can't convince someone else to make themselves and their health a priority. It can't be done. You know, you can't force people to watch this blog, although I know some people who have tried to get, you know, their kids or their spouses or whatever to follow along. Anything that I say, anything that people read anywhere that inspires them to get moving, anything that convinces people that they need to make this investment in themselves has nothing to do with what's happening outside and everything to do with what's inside of them. At some point there's a switch, there's a click, there's a turning point where they realize that they're worth it, that they want to invest this too. And when that happens, they're going to come to you. If you're the person in your family, in your life, in your circle, if you're the person who's already made those moves, if you're the person who's already living that life, who's getting active, who's eating healthy, who's just conscious, who's living consciously in every way to do with health and fitness and body and spirit and all of that stuff, if you're that person in your network, in your circle, in your family, they're going to come to you and seek your advice. And when they do, what you have to do, and what I try to do every day, is just don't be judgmental. Don't say it took you long enough. I hated that. When I weighed 460 pounds, the last thing I wanted was anybody coming to me and telling me what I needed to do for myself. It didn't work. There was a day where that clicked for me, and on that day my life changed. But there's not one of you out there, nobody in my life now or who had been in my life before, who could convince me to do this for myself. And you're not going to convince your husband, you're not going to convince your wife, your kids, your coworkers, your best friend. You're not going to convince any of them to make this change. It's not going to happen. It can't be done. You're going to show up and give them education. You're going to show them all of your healthy meal alternatives and everything else, and they're going to laugh at you because nobody wants to be lectured. You know, you don't want to be the health food nut. You don't want to be labeled as the hippie in your group. You know, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to even hear about that. I hated it. I hated it. I hate lectures. I hate preaching. I think this is an opt-in lifestyle. For the people who want to know more about this, it's about opting in. It's about seeking out those opportunities, seeking out those people who inspire you to do more and to get more active. The first click there, though, is yours. You have to make that choice. And if the people that you care about aren't quite there yet, just let them see your example. Let them see what you get out of making these choices. Let them see the change in you and begin to light that fire within themselves, to imagine that change for themselves. The best thing that you can do to show them that there is a better way for them to manage their own life and their own health, the best way you can show them that is to show them how it's working for you and how you are able to do that now for you. And of course they're going to want a part of that. When they see how alive you become, when they see how many good choices you now have in front of you, when they see the stuff that you can do now that you had written out of your life months ago, they are going to want to be you. And they are going to turn to you for help and support, and they are going to lean on you to help them make those choices themselves. You can't force that on them. You got to let them come to you and ask for that support. I'm going to write more about this in the blog this week. Head on over to eagle1035.com, check it out, and I'll meet you back here again next Friday.